nervous system, they lose their ability to divide. So stay careful. And number 3, they have huge appetites. Like a soccer-playing teenager, neurons have a crazy high metabolic rate. You need a steady and abundant supply of glucose and oxygen, and about 25% of the calories that you take in every day are consumed by your brain's activity. Along with all these wonderful qualities, your neurons also share the same basic structure. The soma, or cell body, is the neuron's life support. It's got all the normal cell goodies, like a nucleus, DNA, mitochondria, ribosomes, cytoplasm. The bushy branch-like things projecting out from the soma are dendrites. They're the listeners. They pick up messages, news, gossip from other cells, and convey that information to the cell body. The neuron's axon neuron is like the talker. This long extension or fiber can be super short or run a full meter from your spine down to your ankle. We've got a few different axon layouts in our body, but in the most abundant type of neuron, the axons transmit electrical impulses away from the cell body to other cells. For us students of biology, it's a good thing that nerve cells aren't all identical because their differences in structure are one of the ways that we tell them apart and classify them. The main part of organic structure. 99% of all your neurons are multipolar neurons with 3 or more processes sticking out from the soma, including one axon and a bunch of dendrites. Bipolar neurons have 2 processes, an axon and a single dendrite, extending from opposite sides of the cell body. They're pretty rare, found only in a few special sensory places like the retina of your eye. Unipolar neurons, on the other hand, have just one process and are found mostly in your sensory receptors. So if you ever find yourself probing around someone's nervous tissue, remember these 3 terms to help you figure out what you're looking at. So because we're talking about physiology here as well as anatomy, we have to classify these cells in terms of their function. And that basically comes down to which way an impulse travels through a neuron in relation to the brain and spine. Our sensory or afferent neurons pick up messages and transmit impulses from sensory receptors in, say, the skin or internal organs, and send them toward the central nervous system. Most sensory neurons are unipolar. Motor or efferent neurons do the opposite. They're mostly multipolar and transmit impulses away from the central nervous system and out to your body's muscles and glands. And then there are interneurons, or association neurons, which live in the central nervous system and transmit impulses between those sensory and motor neurons. Interneurons are the most abundant of your body's neurons and are mostly multipolar. Okay, it's applied knowledge time. Let's review everything we've learned so far in terms of that spider on your knee. Those 8 cremated glands first activate your unipolar sensory neurons in the skin on your knee, and they sense something crawling on you. The signal travels of an axon wrapped in Schwann cells and into your spinal cord, where it gets passed on to several multipolar interneurons. Now, some of those interneurons might send a signal straight down a bunch of multipolar neurons to your quadriceps muscle on your thigh, triggering you to kick your leg out before you even know what's going on. Other interneurons will pass that signal to neurons that carry it up to your spinal cord to your brain. That's where your body first recognizes that thing as a spider, and the connections between neurons interpret and split the signal so that you can either scream and start swinging your arms wildly about, or remain calm and with dignity remove the spider from your person. It's all based on the connections between neurons, which brings me to a whole new question. How? How in the name of Jean-Marc Charcot do nerve cells use chemistry and electricity to communicate with each other? It's one of the most stupefyingly awesome and complicated aspects of your nervous system and basically of all life, and it is what we will cover in our next lesson. Today, you'll...
Stop. Today we will stop. Okay, so thinking about the spider, okay? That's the part I need you to know. I do not need you to know all those different terms. I do need you to know there's sensory neurons and there's motor neurons, and then they send signals up to your brain to help you respond. So turn to your partner for just a minute, and I want you to think of one example of something you did today that involved your sensory neurons, your brain recognizing it, and your motor neurons responding. Okay?
गाइस क्लास चल रही है मेरी ब्रेक हो गया देखो हमारी क्लास तुम जाने चलो ओके गाइस दोबारा आता हूँ 5 मिनट में